All right, gonna show you guys something here. Better. Off. This is about the factory settings on your Makita rail saw here for square with the blade. And I have adjusted it before to cut different angles. This is a Festool rail. I do have it clamped to the table right here. And what I've been doing is, funny, the first time I got a little dust in my eyes, I wasn't wearing my goggles, so that's on me. Again, I had this clamp to the table with this clamp. This slides into this extrusion here. All right, so now you can clamp that to something and this can't move. It has rubber on here, so the friction of that on the piece usually prevents it from moving, but I like to be extra careful whenever I'm doing like a furniture piece. What I'm doing here, this is the front of a column for a fireplace mantle. And it's narrower up here, and it widens out down here. So all I was doing was putting the straight edge even with the line here. There's going to be a piece of base molding here from here down, and then it tapers up. And that's it. I just drew the pencil lines. I put the straight edge right on that, and simple to cut it. What happened was when I first did it, one of these pieces came off, and I saw this angle to it right here. And I was like, uh-oh, that saw is not cutting square. And so I checked it on the piece I had cut with the square, right? Just laying the square right along here. And this is dead perfect right now. But the first one, I mean, it was just out of square, just the slightest amount. I mean, you couldn't even call it a hair. It was just like less than a 64th of an inch. But just that showed me this. Then I adjusted it, and I thought I had it perfectly square on here, and I made the next cut, and it went back the other direction. So I was just off that much in the other direction. So I'd adjust it again, and my next cut left me with this cut off. And you see how that looks pretty square? And that's how I knew this thing was finally cut and square. So it's just a little test for you. It's a neat way for you to do it, a practical test. Because trying to put a square on this thing, like plunging the blade and putting a square on it, there's a hollow section to this on here. So laying a square, like it's raised here, see it's raised here, goes around, and there's this hollow section that's a solid. It feels like about a 16th of an inch. And the reason I think that they do that is because the saw is going to run on something at least that wide. So if this was all at the same depth, let's say, you've got way more friction that the saw is riding on. So it probably makes it a little bit harder for you to cut your work. I think that's probably why they do that. Riding on the this is intended to be used on a track, although I've used this without the track before, just as a standard circular saw. So I just wanted to point that out. And that's it. And by the way, doing a taper like this, a lot of people would maybe do this on a table saw. They might have a tapering jig. It would take all this time to set it up, pull the jig down, set that up, move everything out of the way. Whereas if you've got a rail saw, boom, lay this on there. It's going to be perfect every single time. And I just thought I'd throw that at you. Again, you do your cut. It's better to do a test cut. I probably should have done a test. I would have known. The amount that this is off is so infinitesimal. When the piece is in, nobody's ever going to notice that. And so I'm not concerned about that. But again, you cut your piece off and you see that angle, you know that that circular saw is not, with a blade, is not square to the plate. So you want to fine tune that, do your test, and now I know it's on there. And there is a gauge on here. And according to this gauge, I'm a little out of square. I don't know if we can see this on camera here, but there's that orange point there is not exactly on the 0 mark. There's an adjustment screw here. So what I can do is I can loosen that adjustment screw and put that exactly perfect so I know it's where it is all the time. I should probably do that right now, and I think I will. So let me get to that and get back to work. Just a little tip. What you're cutting off is going to reveal what's going on with your tools. So just a good way to pick up on things. Because if this piece had a mate, let's say this was a tabletop and you were using, boards and you wanted to glue them together, you were using a rail saw to cut. Well, if they're not all dead perfect, exactly, precisely 90 degrees, and you go to glue those boards up, well then your table's going to cup. It's going to have a cup to it along all those seams, right? Because they're not dead exact, super precise, exactly 90 degrees. Very, very important. In this case, doesn't matter. This sits on top of 2 other pieces that protrude, and then there's going to be some molding. It comes here. It's going to wrap around. It's going to hit this piece and wrap around. None of that's going to matter. And this is already on an angle as it is, and I guess I'll have to deal with that when the time comes. I don't think I'm going to need to adjust these cuts for this angle because you see it, but it is very subtle here. So that's all. Just trying to help. Be good. Catch you in the next one.